Hey, what's going on? I'm going to show you how to hand roll a cigar. I'm not an expert by any means, and a lot of the methods that are out there I'm not using. I'm just kind of using my own thing, but they smoke well, they look good. So a few materials you're going to need is a standard run-of-the-mill rolling pin, a cutting board. This one's bamboo. I'm not really sure if any of the other ones make a difference, but it seems to work pretty well. Just a very cheap pizza cutter, like a little roll cutter. Extremely cheap guillotine cigar cutter. Spray bottle with distilled water, a cigar mold. This one I got from leafonly.com, and it's a 48 ring gauge cigar mold. So there's that, and you're gonna need your cigar leaves. You'll notice I have under this towel right here, it's a moistened towel, and those are gonna be my wrapper leaves, and I'll come back to that at the very end when we're in the final stage. So the first thing you want to do is you want to get your binder leaf. This is a Pennsylvania binder, really easy to work with. And what I do with my leaves is I spray them down beforehand, and I kind of close the bag and just kind of let them sit for a whole night, and they get nice and pliable. I've got other binder leaves, but this one just seems to be a lot easier to work with. Just gonna find one that's not super holy, maybe a little bit nicer. And the whole reason for having the rolling pin is to roll down these veins, and these veins can be really unsightly, and they'll poke right through the final wrap of the cigar. All right, so what you do is you're going to lay your binder, and you're going to fold it in half so the vein is stick on the outside. And you're just going to take your little pizza cutter and you're just going to go along that really thick vein in the middle, and you just want to separate the binder away from that. And these thick leaves, you'll have to use a little bit of force, but the binder luckily is not the final product, so it doesn't have to be the prettiest thing in the world. And you can just discard that. And just pick the one that looks best. This one has a huge hole in it, so we'll go with this one probably. Alright, now you just lay it flat with the veins sticking up. There's two sides to every leaf. Usually the veins are darker on the bottom side of where you want to roll. So what I can do is I like to kind of spread it out, make sure it's good and pliable to work with. And then just take the rolling pin, and as you're spreading it out, just kind of smash the veins in. And that'll kind of make the rolling process a little bit smoother. And it will stick, so just got to be a little patient with these kind of things. And you don't really have to go over it a whole bunch because these veins, they flatten pretty easily depending on which leaf you're using. Alright, so now that part is done. Then you're going to move on to your filler leaf. And your filler leaf, everybody uses a combination of Nicaraguan Viso and Seco, or Dominican Viso and Seco. I just do, Nicaraguan Ligero and Seco. I just do all Viso. I like the strength of it. It's a good leaf. It smokes nice. It's good flavor. Alright, so we have your filler leaf right here. And they do have some relatively big veins in there. Just get that middle vein out of there. This is going to be pretty as long as it's on the inside of the cigar anyways. Discard that. Discard that. Now you'll see a lot of people do the end to bottom method, which is they make like little circles and they do that by hand, so it improves. It's really good for airflow, and that's how the professionals do it. I am by no means a professional, so I just like to put all my little small leaves and excess leaves all in here and kind of feel the gauge of the cigar that I'm going for. I like to go for like a 48 to 50 ring. No particular reason actually. That's just kind of prefer to smoke. Once you kind of squeeze it, you can kind of tell, do I need a little more, do I need a little less? Most times you can use more because a lot of times the cigar will come out quite inconsistent with the thickness. So once you got this kind of bunched up, what I like to do is I like to actually kind of roll this into itself, and that will, for me, ensure that I'm not going to have any draw problems, and it also kind of helps me gauge if I'm going too thick or not thick enough. So that's kind of what you get with the whole filler leaf right there. And then you're going to roll this into a binder. All right. So basically you want to roll this as tight as you possibly can while spreading the binder. This is the most crucial step, because if it's not tight in the binder, then it's just, when you're later wrapping it after you take it out the mold, it's just not going to look right. It's not going to feel right. It's going to be loose in some spots. You can have draw issues. So with your fingers that you're not using to roll, you want to just spread the binder as you're rolling into the binder. Just want to get it as tight as you possibly can. And this is not a perfect science. The expert rollers can do this without even looking at it. You know, this is probably the 10th cigar I've ever rolled in my life, and this is as good as you can get for right now. You know, you might have to go back and forth a little bit here and there. And just put some of that little cigar glue right there. Just want to make it stick to itself. Just kind of go back and forth, just kind of get it molded to a tight consistency. And then for this particular glue, you got to kind of hold it for a little bit before it starts really adhering, but I'm sure you can get other stuff. So you're going to end up with this guy right here, and you're going to snip one end, and that one end is going to be the mouth part of the cigar. So you just take a little cigar cutter and just snip that, and then you can kind of see at this end that it's, you know, it's a pretty tightly wound. It's not bad at all. So what you're going to do is now you're going to put it in the mold. This is a very, very simple mold to use. You can get these on eBay for 20-30 bucks. All the ones I found at the time were cracked, and I mean, they're from the 1800s. I just didn't know what I was doing, so I wanted to start new first, and then, you know, after I get the hang of this, after I start doing well, then I'll probably buy one of those vintage, really cool, old rolled ones. So as you can see, this one has a rounded tip right here. So you can put the part that you just cut in to the rounded area, and what that does, it kind of molds it around it, so it'll make it a lot easier for you to make a cap out of it. And you just place that back on there. Tighten it up for about 30 to 45 minutes. Once you open it back up, you're going to rotate the cigar about 90 degrees, because you will end up with some wings of the excess binder. And you know, once you rotate it 90 degrees, put it in there for another 30 to 45 minutes. And after that, you're ready to wrap the cigar. So after I figure this out, I'll get back to wrapping. Alright, so it's been an hour and a half. At the 45-minute mark, I undid this and I rotated the cigars about 90 degrees, because they end up having those little flaps that get kind of pinched in there. So now we've got to open this bad boy up, and the filler inside the binder, it should be completely smooth. At least smooth enough for us to wrap it finally. Alright, so let's check this out. Alright, and this is what it should look like. This is the first one I did. This is what it should look like. Now we still do have a little bit of the wings right there, but when you wrap it, it'll smoothen out. Kind of like this one right here. And if you look at some of your store-bought cigars, you'll see some of them do have that line in there. I mean, you know, this is not a perfect science once again. But the good thing about having the wooden mold is that it dries it out also. It makes it a lot easier to wrap. Alright, so we'll just go and start with this one. The portion that you snipped, that's going to be the mouth of the cigar. So you're going to roll from the foot to the mouth, or the foot to the head, whatever they call it. So you're going to get... Alright, so we are going to use a Maduro wrapper instead of the Cameroon. Not really getting the greatest of results in the world with the Cameroon right now. Like I said, they're really delicate, very, very hard to use. This one should work out nicely. Alright, once again you want the veins on the inside. And the veins should be pointing upwards. So we'll just cut this little tail piece off right here. And you want to make a little border on the curvature part, because that's what's going to be on the outside when you see the wrapping. You just want it to look all nice. I'm going to take a little in the middle out because it's too much wrapper leaf. So different leaves, different wrappers, different binders. You're going to treat each one differently. It just kind of depends on how they are. Alright, so you just want to put a little glue at the base right here. And you are going to roll from foot to the mouth part. And your fingers that aren't rolling, you should be rolling with pretty much your pointer finger and your thumbs. And the other fingers should be stretching the wrapper leaf. And that's coming out pretty smooth so far. And along the way you can put a little bit of glue along the edges just so it doesn't unravel while you're wrapping it. And like I said, my technique is definitely not the best, but you know, it's fun to learn how to do things differently, and we'll just see how this turns out. So once you get to this point right here, you're going to want to add a little bit to this side, just all around it, because you're about to tie it off into like a little piggy tail, and that will allow us to work with it a little bit better to make a cap. Cap is extremely difficult, at least for me it is. So once you're at this point, just kind of twist it and twist it and twist it until you get this little piggy tail at the very end. Then all you do is you let that stay right there. Then once it dries for a little bit, you're going to snip it and just take a very, very small piece of wrapper leaf and just put it on the top. And that is pretty much it. What I like to do is I just take a standard tape measure. I like mine to be 550, 5 inches long and 50-inch ring gauge. That's about a Robusto size, or that is a Robusto size. So I just snip this end right here. And there you have it. There's my made cigar. And once this dries up, I'm going to snip that and put a little cap on it. But that's not bad. Maduro wrapper, we'll fill it. Okay, Maduro wrapper, Nicaraguan Viso filler, and I used a Pennsylvania Oscuro binder. And this has got a ton of flavor, as you can see right there. Not too tight, not too loose, but these smoke really well. I've had a couple of these. Some didn't draw so well, but like I said, amateur. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed that. I'd love to take any criticisms from the BOTLs. If anybody knows how to do this a lot better, I'm sure you do. Send me some comments. Let me know. Alright, thanks a lot, guys.